standing by the ruins of Aleppo. For me, the title of an art piece is quite important. Generally, a lot of my works are titled based on poetry. My name is Dana Awartani. I'm a contemporary artist based in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. This standing by the ruins comes from a certain trope of poetry, which is called ruin poetry, Aطlal poetry. This poetry genre is extremely important in Arabic literature history because it's pre-Islamic. It comes from the mu'allaqat. My work looks at the revival of traditional crafts and forms of making across the Middle East and the Islamic world. My experience with this Biennale has been really emotional and exciting for me because it's the first Biennale in Saudi Arabia. And it's really amazing to see something like this happen in the country where I live and grew up. So it's been a long journey and it's been quite emotional. My current piece that I've made for the Biennale specifically looks at the Grand Mosque of Aleppo, which is an important UNESCO World Heritage Site in Syria that's been heavily damaged and destroyed during the Syrian Civil War. So for this work, there was multiple points of inspiration that came about that led me to making this work. First of all, it's for me an homage to my matrilineal lineage of my family. So my grandmother, she is Syrian. So I come from such a diverse background. I'm not just Saudi, I'm also Syrian, I'm Palestinian, and I'm Jordanian. This mosque for me that was really special is the fact that it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and so is Diriyah. So they share the same history. Diriyah has also faced the similar history of violence and destruction. When the Ottomans invaded Najd, they burnt Diriyah down to the ground. That link for me between the two sites was a reason why I decided to make this work using clay earth. So it's earth that comes from the land, and also all of old Diriyah is built with mud houses, with clay adobe structures. So I used the same material that was found to build these homes, which I gathered from different parts of Saudi, to create over 13,000 bricks to make this work. So the process of the work was very laborious, and for me also, the way I make an artwork or the journey of making an artwork sometimes is more important than the end result. So the people I worked with on this project is very important. So I worked with a group of people who work in preserving and building mud houses. So what we had to do is make 13,000 bricks for this. And first of all, I couldn't find the actual floor plan of the mosque online. There was no map that I could work from. I had to actually do it myself. So I spent time researching, collating images of the mosque, and then redrawing out the courtyard. Then after that, coming up with a system of how I'm going to make it. So, the beautiful thing about this process is I'm working with the sun. I'm fully dependent on nature. So, from 6 a.m. till 6 p.m., that's when I was outside making my mud bricks, my dough bricks. And the end result is going to be a huge mosaic of all of these pieces coming together. So it's like a huge puzzle that I have to put together. I had to make 13,000 bricks. I had 750 molds made out of wood. I had 10 workers with me working, and it was a 2-month process. Every day counted. We have a long, beautiful, rich history, and the scary part about it is this knowledge is dying. The craftsmen who make beautiful carpentry objects or beautiful mosaic houses is all gone. So for me, really, it is about raising awareness that this is something we have, it's something precious, something we need to preserve and hopefully inspire other people to. Oh, there were so many challenges to this piece. First of all, the right team to work with. It was very hard for me to find who am I going to work with, who has the sensitivity to work with this material. Also, where am I going to find clay earth in Saudi? I wasn't aware I need somebody an expert to know where it's located. So, it wasn't just we found just any clay earth. I had to do a lot of testing as well to make sure the color was right, the consistency was right. So there was a lot of challenges, and obviously also producing an artwork in a construction site, at the end of the day, because my work had to be produced on site. It couldn't be made somewhere else and transported it because I wanted to be made here, from soil, from earth, from Riyadh. Yeah, another challenge, of course, was all the work had to happen in the sun. Without sun, there was no work. So, you know, the sunrise to sunset was my work schedule. And, you know, it takes a toll on you physically. But thankfully, it wasn't too hot. It wasn't peak summer. And there was no rain, even though it was rainy season. So I did get a bit lucky. There was no specifically difficult part. The whole thing was very difficult. Really, the difficult part was the organization. You know, it had to be extremely organized. Everything had to be labeled. Checking each mold was the correct size, because millimeters make a difference. And every Biennale I've participated in has always been a highlight for me. It's the most exciting exhibition to take part in because it's non-commercial, because it's not about selling and buying. It's not an art fair. You know, it's really about, you know, the best of the best. International artists from all around the world having cross-cultural dialogue, and it's an inspiration as well. I mean, for artists that are taking part, that are still emerging, you learn from this experience. And I think this is something that's really needed in Saudi. We have such a young creative scene that needs to grow, and this is the way forward. This is how you grow.